Everyone, I wanted to do a fun beachy themed project with this dollar store art. This frame I got from Hobby Lobby several years ago on clearance, but this at the beach canvas art I found at the Dollar Tree, and I love this saying on it, so I thought I could kind of combine the two pieces along with this map piece of scrapbook paper, like a scrap of scrapbook paper that I had. I didn't want to just put the paper straight on that burlap texture. So you can see I have my Mod Podge, and I'm just going to take the piece of scrapbook paper and I'm going to Mod Podge it. I use Mod Podge a lot in place of glue. It is a glue, but I know not a lot of people use it as glue, but I definitely do. So I'm going to glue this to the piece of cardboard here. And the only thing I find with Mod Podge, and maybe other people have trouble with it, and that's why they don't use it as a glue, I don't really find that the wrinkles that show up in the paper stay in the paper, so I don't mind using it. You can see I'm trying to kind of evenly distribute it a little bit. And the other thing that I don't do while I'm working is I don't try to mess with the paper too much, and I try not to do both a bottom coat of Mod Podge and a top coat. So I press it, just trying to get it to adhere really well to the cardboard. The other thing I'll do is like what I just did here is like flip it over. I might put something heavy on top to kind of weigh it down while it's doing. But now I'm going to move on to this at the beach canvas. Like I said, I just thought it was really cute. You see all of these canvases at the Dollar Tree all the time. They're generally the same sizes. I like that this one was rectangle. I thought it was a different shape and size than what I normally see. You normally see those little squares, so these are rectangles. I'm just kind of removing it from that wood frame, and you'll see the tool I'm using is actually a letter opener. And it sounds kind of like a weird tool to keep in your craft room, but I gotta be honest, I use it all the time. So if you happen to come across a letter opener at maybe a garage sale or a thrift store or an estate sale, wherever you look for things like that, I would highly encourage you to buy something like that, because I kind of use it to pry up those staples. And then I'm using my wire cutters. I got those at Home Depot. I prefer those over anything else that you would get at like Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, where you'd normally get a craft store. Going for a real hardware store purchase and buying something like wire cutters, while they were a little more expensive, I think they were around $17. It has been well worth it. I've had these for probably not quite a year, but you can't even tell like the level of wire I can cut. Some of those floral stems that you come across have really thick stems, and those wire cutters have been incredible. So it looks a little tedious here, but it's honestly not that bad. And I've definitely seen other YouTubers just cut the canvas straight off of the frame. I thought I would use the frame again. You'll probably see it show up again in a DIY in the future. So I know a lot of YouTubers will just cut the canvas straight off the frame, but I preferred to just kind of salvage that frame because I will use it at some point in the future. You guys will see it again. So I really started looking at this once I got all the staples out and out of the way, and really wanted to figure out how I was going to add it to this little burlap frame that you see over here. And yes, it was cute that it said "Sail Away with Me," but I really thought I could elevate it even more. So I wanted to leave the clip, the little binder clip that you see up at the top. I wanted to leave that, but I was really trying to decide how much of this I wanted to cut off, what shape I wanted. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of forming this around and deciding what I want to do, and just trying to keep my workspace clean. Y'all only get to see a little portion of it in these videos, but I have a massive table that I work on. This little ruler here, I actually got this at Dollar Tree as well. I thought it was an incredible steal because it's really high quality, thick metal. I was actually shocked to find this one at the dollar store. So I knew that I had to get it because I like that it's an L shape. I'm sure it has a real name. I know it's more for carpentry and drafting and things like that, but I don't know the proper name for it. I'm sorry, but I have really enjoyed using it to square things off, to cut pieces of paper. I use a lot of scrapbooking paper. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that I like using scrapbook paper. So this has been a really great tool for me to use. So if you happen to see these at the dollar store, and I think I even got this at like a not great dollar store, like a, you know, kind of not as big dollar store and all that. So I think they're pretty easy to find. I think even if there's a not great dollar store that you shop at or have in your area, the automotive / hardware tool section tends to be pretty good. Like you don't have to have one of those massive Dollar Trees to end up with a nice tool hardware automotive section. You know the aisle I'm talking about in the store. So I thought I'd give this a shot here and tear the canvas, because here I was thinking, okay, this is rustic, this is beachy. I kind of want to make it look like it's been out like on the beach, almost kind of an age weathered appearance. And so I was playing around with tearing it. What I did find is that it must be the way this canvas is woven, but it only tore one way. So it only tore like the vertical way. It wouldn't tear the horizontal way. So what I did was just go ahead and cut off the horizontal way anyway. I still tore the 2 vertical sides. So what you're going to see is me tearing those 2 sides, but I knew that I really wanted to do this look with like the kind of fringed edge, and you'll see as I go along here what I end up doing, but I wasn't going to let this discourage me. I am not an easily discouraged crafter. If something is not going the way that I think it should be going, or not real happy with the way that it's going, I just press on. And if I really get discouraged, I might set it to the side and come back to it in a couple weeks. And I would highly encourage you to do the same, especially if you're just starting out. Even if you're a pro crafter, I just really never like to give up on any kind of project. I have a vision in my head and I'm trying to work towards it, and I really do not want to lose sight of that and let things sit around my room. So that's always the goal, to keep going here. So what I wanted to do here, when I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do with this canvas? I thought, I've seen some other people do this, and I thought it was a really fun idea, was to take a piece of sandpaper and to distress the edges of the scrapbook paper here on this piece of cardboard backing. And I will say it's definitely dried for several minutes at this point. So I would not, obviously try this on something where you still have wet glue or Mod Podge that you're working with. But I thought this would be also, again, I'm trying to go for that really weathered, aged appearance with everything on this little piece of art. And so I thought, how much cooler would it be if it had these cool edges? That little sander that's in my hand, I got that also at Home Depot. And I thought it was really cool because you can take pieces of sandpaper and like clip it into the holder here, and it gives you a really good hand grip. And I know if you use just pieces of sandpaper, sometimes it ends up wearing through kind of where your hand is. But I really was trying to give this paper some age. It looks a little too new for me, so I thought something like this would be kind of fun. Like I said, I've seen some other people do it, and I just wanted to give this technique kind of a little shot here. And I'll definitely try it again because it was really fun. And I just think it makes your papers, if you're using like just the papers that we can all get at all the craft stores that everyone has access to, sometimes they can look a little too perfect or a little too new. So I thought, well, how cool could it be if I make this more aged looking, like it's been around for, 15, 20 years or something like that. So that was my goal in really trying to add that edge there. And so as I'm working here, I'm still kind of thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And the reason I don't edit my videos probably as much as some other people do is I want you guys to see probably more of an authentic experience, not so perfectly edited. So I have the strings of glue in my Mod Podge, just like you do. So I really just try to give you guys an accurate picture of what it's like crafting, because I feel like sometimes on YouTube people can get too edited and too perfect, and it gives us all this unrealistic standard that we're shooting for. And I pride myself on being authentic. I do a little editing, so these videos aren't 35 minutes long, but I will say I just really wanted to let you guys know this is how it, really goes down. So I started thinking about, what do I want to do with this map piece? Do I want to have it go horizontal across the bottom, or do I want to have it go vertical? So that's what you're seeing here is kind of my thinking. And I decided, okay, this is going to go vertical. Then I'm going to take a piece of scrap burlap that I had around, and that is going to cover that Sail Away With Me writing that's there on the bottom. So this is what I do sometimes when I'm really thinking about how a project is going to come together, is I lay it out kind of the way that I am thinking about doing it. And then I just kind of look at it and I decide, do I like this or not? So by this time, I wanted to attempt this fringing of the edges. And then I also realized I don't have to keep this at the beach canvas exactly the same size as it was on the frame. I have leeway to do what I want with it. So I really just decided to make it fit the frame a little bit more, especially with adding this burlap at the bottom. And you can definitely see I'm still struggling to pull any threads on this horizontal side. So if you do something like this, if you want to make a project that's kind of inspired by this, I would highly encourage you to just keep going, to not give up, because there is a way to accomplish these things and to make them look the way that you have envisioned in your head. So that's kind of my thinking, to lay this project out like this. So that is truly how I create things and think about things, and you can see, okay, this is where I'm going now. So what I did was, that is glued down there. And then I also have this little burlap piece at the bottom. You can see I'm still kind of playing with that fringed edge. Under my Mod Podge bottle, you're going to see my At the Beach. I also glued it to cardboard. I thought it would give it a little more stability. So what I'm doing here is, I thought I wanted kind of a little trim, but nothing too crazy. I found this multicolored twine at the dollar store. Probably it's been a minute, but if you've taken a look around the Crafters Square section at Dollar Tree recently, you will see it's gotten really incredible. So I think if you can't find this, I've seen like baker's twine that they have around, and I think that would be really incredible. But that's what I'm doing here, is just adding, I thought, another kind of finished, what I thought would be more of like a finished edge. I don't go for perfection, as I've said earlier, but I really like embellishment. I like a special touch. I like something that makes it a little bit different and makes it like you can't necessarily buy it that way. So that's what I'm doing here, is just adding this little edge on here with this multicolored twine. Like I said, I've seen the baker's twine before if you can't find this exact jute and white rope combination. But you should still be able to find it kind of in the crafters area, maybe by the jewelry beads and things like that. But really that just, you'll see this in a lot of projects, because I bought obviously a big roll of it like that. And I just thought it was a fun little detail, and it made it look like, oh, that belongs at the beach as well. So as I mentioned, I have my little canvas piece under that Mod Podge container. I had it weighted down. So it's not perfectly fringed the way I wanted, but I think it's pretty close. And something like this was just a fun little project that I wanted to do. And I hope it inspires you guys to take a look at things that you come across at the dollar store or on clearance anywhere else and just make a beautiful piece of decor for your home. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, guys.